TinyTableGames. Today is episode 8 of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, where the team finally gets down to location 20, which was an undead horde that they had to go clean out for the local populace in Glasswater Village. They got waylaid on the way, which is the last episode, managed to fight off those guys without any injuries, had to burn a few story points, but they made it to their final destination, and it's time to go see how that works out. So it's straight to the camp prep roll. In this case, a 32. And a 32 is stormy weather. We receive one less campaign activity this turn. Okay, well, the only campaign activity we were going to do today was live off the land, so we don't have to pay the guys to do anything. And we will carry straight on to the travel roll to hopefully get all the way down to 20 this time. Making our way down south. You see something in the distance. Add another unexplored location to your regional map. You can either go there or not. Okay, so we were on our way from 4 down to 20. We finally got to 20, but now we see something in the distance on our way there. Where would we see it? Probably, what is 11? 11 is an ice-walled camp. And 10 is a ruin within camp, so enemy camps on either side. So I'll say we see something over here. So this will be number 21. Unexplored location. Okay, time to see what from the Whispers Beyond, aka the Undead, shows up. So far we have fought the Taken and Roaming Dead. Let's see what we get this time. And again, for people who are not technically a big bad in the campaign, these guys are making a lot of appearances. 20. That is once again the Roaming Dead, same as last time. Bring on the Skeleton Horde once more in quantities of, take the higher one and add 4 to it. So 8. Well, that works out rather nicely. It's even less than we encountered in the dungeon. So time to go set up the field for combat. To make sure that there's no enemy leadership. I'm not sure how much roaming undead leadership really consists of, but there is an enemy leadership table, so we will check it out. A 25, 26 means they have a sergeant with them who has slightly better stats, but very little difference, truly. So that just adds 1 extra dude to the mix, so that'll be a 9 for the fight. All right, so here's our setup. As you can see, we got the heroes on the right side over here. They're doing what's technically called a refused flank, which is to say you simply refuse to engage on one half of the terrain in order to focus your fire down on the other half. The enemy, per the scenario, is forced to group into basically 3 clumps of troops, and since there's 9 of them total, that works out pretty nicely. Which also allows the refused flank a chance to focus down one side, and if done properly in classical military fashion, you envelop the side, aka flank come around the side, and then sweep up the line. Normally a refused flank is more effective if your opponent has artillery and aren't slow walking dudes with melee only. However, it's kind of a fun way to do it, and I haven't tried a refused flank against a slow moving melee only infantry before, especially when there's a impassable area right in the middle, which will force people over to rocks or around the ruins and whatnot. So this should be kind of interesting from a strategic perspective from my point of view. That said, let's get the initiative started and get rolling.
They got your gingerbread on back
I do like the gingerbread latte.
and your chestnut praline.
The chestnut praline I didn't like as much last time for some reason. That, the sugar cookie oat milk one or whatever it is? That one's really good. All right, so let's get on to the initiative. Yeah, it's not too terrible. 2 people get to go early this time. So in keeping with the refused flank, we'll have Claus start us off, and he is going to shoot to this guy, which is almost at the end of his range. So he'll hit on a 5+. And he does. As always, these guys don't have any armor, but they do have a toughness of 5. So good chance of him wounding, anything but a 1. Lousy chance of killing in one blow, which is a 6. So he is wounded and stunned. So we will turn him this way to indicate it, which may be more obvious to me than it is to you. But as we zoom in, you will see it easier. But he's effectively facing that way now instead of that way. Okay, next up, Wolf will use his crossbow, and rather than shoot at the same guy who is already wounded, since they're going to have several rounds of shooting these guys, he will shoot straight across at this guy right here. He also hits on a 5+, because he is not under any kind of cover from that hill. But he misses. But he's also not out of ammo, so yay for him. And next up is the bad guys moving. They move 3 inches, which is real easy on these squares. Which is one reason I like using these battle mats, because you don't have to measure the trivial movements. And the rules make a point of saying that the enemy will act smartly, but when they have no ranged weapons, and they must cross the field to attack, what else are they going to do except just march into the guns? If you ever watched any of the BBC series with Sean Bean about Richard Sharp, you kind of get a good feeling of how this is going at the moment. And now we're into the slow phase, and if you haven't, definitely go do it. It's available on YouTube. Well, I mean, you know, somebody pirated it on YouTube, but if you can manage to catch some of it, it's pretty interesting. Or just read Commissar Kane's novels from Warhammer 40K, which are also absolutely excellent, and I think probably the best novels they have. Right, onto the slow hero phase. Lucky will take her shot with her bow at, I think, this guy, because it's an unobstructed shot, so she hits on a 5+, otherwise it'd be a 6. She misses, but doesn't run out of ammo. I'll take it. George also has a bow. He'll shoot at the same guy. Actually, he'll shoot at this guy because he's unobstructed from around the wall. Hitting on a 5. He does so. No armor, so 6 to take him out, 5 to wound him. He is wounded. So this guy and this guy are wounded now. Wolf does not actually have a bow yet. He is the only person who does not. Wait, oh no, he does have a wolf. He does. Oh, excuse me. Sarge has a bow. He just has a broken shield. My bad. Sarge. He can't move very much, but he needs to move a little bit, I think, for a better position. So he's going to step up 1 inch. He can go up to half his movement, 2 inches, and take a shot at. Ooh, he'll take a shot at the. No, he'll take a shot at that guy. Going to try and whittle everybody down. Hits on a 5+. And instead he runs out of ammunition. Good to know. Sarge better with the spears than he is with the other thing. And Ivan similarly is going to step forward 2 inches because he needs to, because he doesn't have the super fancy bow, so his range is a little tighter, and he will take a shot at this guy also. Hitting on a 5+. He does not, but he also does not run out of ammo, so I shall take it. There's no such thing as morale with undead. They just keep on coming no matter what. And so, on to the initiative for the next round. Looking pretty good, honestly. Okay, going into the next round. We've got 3 people going early. We'll start with Ivan, who will attempt to shoot, once again, this guy, who's been doing quite well at not being hit. Hits on a 5+, and misses. Okay, and Wolf will attempt to shoot this guy because he can see him. That one's got the obstruction. He'd rather not take the extra point of cover. So 5+ to hit the already wounded guy. And he does. And anything but a 1 eliminates him. So he is out. And finally, Claus, who will shoot at this guy, the other already wounded guy, focusing on our refused flank strategy of wiping out one side and then rolling our way up to the other side. So he will hit on a 5+, but he does not. But he's also not out of ammo like some other people I could mention. So on to the enemy movement. Again, 3 inches. Well, this is impassable, so they're going to take to the hills. One, two, three. Inexorably moving forward. Okay, and on to the slow-moving heroes section. Since the action is getting closer, we've got the slow hero phase. Sarge will continue with the refused flank methodology, which is to say he's going to charge up here and try to cut across. Let's see, he's got a speed of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he is, let's see, that's going to draw that guy right to him. But that'll be the next round. So he's going to use his dash to move a little bit further, which takes him off camera, unfortunately. So I need to zoom back out again. Okay, now you can see what I'm talking about. So Sarge is going to position himself right here. Ivan, who still has his bow and ammunition, will take a shot at him. He is still, is he within 6 inches now? He may well be, and he is not. Not quite there. Just outside of 6, so still hitting on a 5+. That's a 1, so he also runs out of ammunition. Over to George, who will take 2 steps forward and take his shot at the wounded guy, hitting on a 5+. Nope, but he's also not out of ammunition, so that's something. Lucky will take her 2 steps up, feeling protected from the lake, and she will shoot at the wounded guy also. As wounded as undead gets, hitting on a 5. She hits. Anything but a 1 will take him out of action. And she doesn't. She really needs to become a hero. I think she's probably more effective than Claus is at this point. And that is everybody. And so right on to a new round of initiative, which is a lot slower this time, but I'm not sure that really matters when you're facing a marching line of undead. Okay, starting off the battle, Claus is the only guy going early, and he will take a shot at the only guy currently in the open on this flank, and the only guy left on this flank, in fact, hitting on a 5, and he does. And 6 to take him out of action immediately, and 2 through 5 to wound him. Well, it takes him out immediately. Claus clearly doesn't want to be thought of as lesser than Lucky. So that collapses that flank entirely. We now go into the monster phase. They continue to march forward 3 inches at a time. It's rough terrain, so it slows them down a little bit through here, but it does give them cover in the process, which makes them harder to hit by 1 number. So if it was a 5 before, it's a 6 now. As they stumble through the rocky ground. And his head fell off. Did you see that? I'm going to have to glue that back on. Well, life with miniatures, I tell you what. But kind of authentic, I suppose, for an undead battle. All right. Maybe I'll just leave that there. That's kind of cool. Anyway, that's it for them. And now we're on to the slow phase. So we will start over here with Sarge, who's not doing anything useful now. And he will move a full 7 inches, again following the refused flank methodology. The problem that people usually have with that strategy is they don't stick to it, and that usually ruins it for them. Okay, Ivan is going to take a shot at the headless skeleton there. It would be a 5, but he's in cover now because of those hills, so it's a 6. Yeah, almost got him, but his head having fallen off gave him that extra edge that he needed to not be hit. George is going to move 2 inches this way, so he can still shoot. And he should be within 6 of the headless skeleton. And he is just. So he hits on what would be a 3, now it's a 4. That's his dice there. So 4+ to hit. With his bow, he does so. 6 to eliminate, 2 to 5 to wound. Or I could roll it off the edge and happily not kill any miniatures. It is a 1, so he is just stunned, which is virtually meaningless if you're not in melee. Lucky, we'll show him how it's done and attempt the same feat. Shifting 1 step to the side to make sure she's within range. 3, so that's a miss, but she's not out of ammo. Unlike George there, who is now out of ammo. Everybody who shoots from this side has run out of ammo. That's interesting. Now Wolf, who is not going to step up, but will instead shoot. All those guys have cover pretty much. So he will shoot at this guy in the middle there, who will not have cover. So he hits on a 5+, but misses. And that is everybody in the round. So we now move on. Put this here so I don't lose track of it. To initiative again. Okay, we're able to collapse the view again since it's, the field's closed up. Here's the initiative roll. Everybody but Claus is going second. Okay, for Claus's attempt, he's going to shoot at the guy nearest him who is not in cover. So that puts this guy on the end over here, who is now 7.5 inches away from him. So he's sitting on a 5+. That is a 2. So he misses. And now the undead go. They will continue their march through the terrain. And 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, now on to the heroes. Wolf is going to try and come up behind him, but it is extra cost movement to get up there. So he can do it, but he'll have to dash afterwards. So he can get up to here. That costs him 5 inches. He's got 2 more inches, so he'll use the last of it to follow up right there. Ivan is out of ammo, so he will shuffle closer and cheer everyone on. George is out of ammo, but he has 4 inches to go with, so he will run up to here and put himself in combat with this headless guy right here in the front. I'm just going to leave him down there because otherwise he's going to fall off the lip, and I don't want to mess with that. So that said, let's see, George is at a +1 for his combat value, and he's the aggressor going into the turn. So 4 to 1, he wins the fight. He is heavy mace. There's no armor to deal with anyway, so a 6 eliminates, and anything but a 1 wounds. 3, so he is wounded. So we will turn him this way, just to keep track. And going into the second exchange. Now that's interesting. Now, normally you'd say, oh, well, he gets pushed back, but he's got nowhere to get pushed back to, so they just keep fighting anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 6 to 5, so the skeleton wins the second one, and the skeleton will be the aggressor going in round 3. George wins that one, so they're both done. He can't be pushed back. He can be, so he just steps back like that. Lucky still has a bowstring, or an arrow or 2, so she will attempt to shoot the wounded guy right there, since George is conveniently taking a step back. Hitting on a 3+ now. Oh, except that would actually be a 4+ because he's still on the terrain, which indicates it's rough and there's a lot more rocks than you can see there, but she rolled a 6, so it doesn't matter, she hits anyway. 6 to eliminate, anything but a 1 to also eliminate because he was already wounded, but it's a 1, so he's just stunned. Neat. All right, Wolf is going to shoot at this guy right here because he's getting awfully close. Hits on a 3+, but misses and runs out of ammo. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, time for initiative. This crowd, what, brings like 3 arrows with them? I mean, I know they're kind of a pain to carry, but come on. Okay, so we got one person going early and everybody else going second. Okay, so George is kicking it off. He'll step back into the action with the already wounded guy. Still has his +1. It loses. The skeleton will be the aggressor in round 2. If I roll it this way, it'd be easier. That is cocked, thankfully. 6 to 6 ties because of George's +1. So they bounce, and that ends the combat. That was the only early one, so now it's the skeleton's turn. So starting, I guess, with this guy, he will attack Sarge. It is even. 6 to 5, Sarge loses. Sarge has a point of armor, which is good because it plinks off the armor. Going into the second round, our Sarge is driven back 1 inch. The skeleton will, of course, follow up. And it is what you would think 4 to 3, except the Sarge is also stunned because it equaled his armor value. Shoves them both. He goes forward 1 inch, and Sarge actually shuffles back 1 inch, even at more difficult terrain. This guy, closest person is Sarge, so he will step back to fight Sarge again. Still even Steven. Oh, no, Sarge is still stunned. So the skeleton has a +1, but it doesn't matter. Sarge wins, so he'll be the aggressor going into the second round. But he messes that up, so the skeleton will be the aggressor going into round 3. And he succeeds. Does he roll past his armor? He does. Wound check versus Sarge's toughness of 3. Whoops. Oh man, hits the head too. Can you believe that? It's a 1. So happily, Sarge is just stunned again and not actually wounded, which is pretty lucky for him. So that's that guy and that guy. This one will step forward and fight George. George has a +2 at this point because he's now close enough to lucky for the backup and his +1 combat value. So 6 to 5, so George wins. Going into the second round, George is the aggressor. He wins again. Wounds, which he was already wounded. So this guy, Headless, is now eliminated. And I will put him in the glue that back together later section. So he's going to float him in the middle of the lake for now. That's it for that skeleton. This guy is now closest to, guess who? George. George still has his +2. Doesn't need it. He'll be the aggressor on the second round. 4 to 6. So the skeleton flips the script and gets to become the aggressor in round 3. And beats George. Armor check. George has 3 points now. Gets past his armor. Toughness check. Whoops. Right off the edge of the table there. That would be sufficient to take George out. Is that a thing we want to have happen? Their story point. I would rather lose a couple story points than lose my main tank due to an unlucky roll. So down to 3 story points, and that hit never happened. The next skeleton will close with claws here, because that's where the closest person will just be fighting over the fence, which for melee, as far as I can tell, doesn't really have any impact either way. Claws is at a +1, thanks to the proximity of Wolf. So 6 to 3, so Claws is the aggressor in the second engagement. 4 to 4, it's a tie. So the skeleton and Claws is pushed back 1 inch. That leaves this guy, 1, 2, 3 for all purposes, and engage once more. Same situation as before. The skeleton wins handily. Armor check. Yep. Claws has 1 point of armor or 2 points of armor these days. He has 2 points of armor. So that is really fortunate that he upgraded to that armor after we got the Fey partial armor. So Claws is stunned but not wounded. And we go into the second engagement with the even Steven rolling at this point. The skeleton wins again. Armor check. Gets past the armor. Toughness check. I'm not that attached to him. Claws is out. Sarge over here will attack this guy. He loses. So the skeleton's the aggressor in the second round. The skeleton wins. Oh boy. But he can't get through his armor. Thank goodness. Third round, the skeleton's still the aggressor. Thank you very much. And it's a tie, so they bounce. So the skeleton scooches forward. And Wolf pushes, or excuse me, Sarge pushes back. And now we're on to brother. What a mess. Ironically, if you'll notice, the right flank of the heroes is collapsed, and the enemy is sweeping around it. That's just the price you pay, I guess. A refused flank does have a weakness, especially when your ranged guys don't hold up the barrage. Out of ammo, out of ammo. Only Lucky has ammo left. So she will take a shot. She will take a step back and take a shot at that guy. Still hitting on a 3. But she misses. Wolf has no ammo, so he's just going to have to step up and fight the old-fashioned way. Should he step up like that? Now he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and come in like this, so he gets back up from George, so he has a +1 in this fight. So 3, 2, 6, so Wolf wins that. 6 to take him out, 2 to 5 to wound, so he wounds him. And going into the second exchange, Wolf is still the aggressor. Yikes, doesn't work out. Skeleton's the aggressor in round 3. And the skeleton wins. Armor check against Wolf. Yep, gets past his armor. Toughness check for Wolf. Yep. And Wolf's out. Okay, Ivan's still around. He's going to have to close the gap, or this is getting real messy real fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got support from George, so he gets the +1. He's going to attack the already wounded guy. 5 to 4, it works. Good ploy, thank you, George. And he takes him out. Whew, thank goodness. Okay, rolling initiative. Not bad. All right, going into the round, let's see. George is going in the early phase because that makes sense. He will be fighting this skeleton here. He is at a +2 due to proximity of friends. He nails him. Injury roll, or excuse me, toughness check. It's a 3, so he is wounded, but the fight continues. It actually pushes this guy 1 inch, so George will step forward. That's going to start mattering now as the bad guys close in, and they're running out of people to fight him with. Again, +2, 7 to 2, so George wins handily again. Anything but a 1 takes him out, and George takes him out. Now it's time for the skeletons to go. The nearest skeleton will move on to George, because that's the closest person. So George is at a +2 once again. And he wins. So he's the aggressor in the second engagement. So 4 to 3, he just barely pulls that off. 6 to take him out, wound anything else. So going into round 3, this guy is wounded and George is still the aggressor. That is a 3-2-3, so it is a tie. So not much happens. This guy gets pushed back, but at least he's wounded. And George pushes back, and that's that. So that leaves the last skeleton closing in over here on the Sarge. Where it will be an even fight, because the Sarge is recovered from his stun. Uh-oh. The skeleton wins. Armor check. Exceeds armor. Toughness check. Exceeds his toughness. I do believe Sarge is out. Wow. These skeletons are tough. And no, I'm not using any more story points, because we're down to, what, 3 of them? And Wolf has a luck point, so he can shrug off any wound roll. I got 1 more silver tea tree to save claws, and Sarge just may be out for good depending on how his roll goes. We shall see. But we got 3 more skeletons to take down. Lucky still has arrow to string, so she will shoot at the wounded guy to improve their odds. 3+ because it's within 6. She hits. Anything but a 1 to take him out. That definitely does it. Advance and fight. Well, actually he's not, because if he does that, he's going to retreat and let them come to George. And he is out of ammo, but he can cast his ammo spell to give himself weapons again. Right. So he, on a 6+, he can reload his own bow, but because he has a +2 to casting now, since his last increase, he only needs a 4+, and he has no trouble accomplishing that. He can cast 2 more spells this game, but now he is reloaded, which will matter as we go into the next round. So he can do something besides cheer on George. So initiative for the new round. This guy get over the fence and over there, because it takes a little bit of motion to do it. He can't quite get there. He's close, but not quite, which actually works out great. And this guy loses some of his steam to the terrain, but does give him a +1 against ranged attacks. So in the slow round, both Lucky and Ivan can fire at this guy. So we'll start with Lucky, because she's much more dangerous. Statistically the same, but thematically she always seems to, see, hits on a 4. 6 to eliminate, anything else wins. She rolled a 1, so he is stunned, but not otherwise injured. Still stunned is useful, because that gives George a +1 to hand, should it come to that. And Ivan will take a shot at him also, 3+. At least doesn't run out of arrows again, but he does miss. And finally, George will close to fight. He is the aggressor. He has a +2 because he is stunned and he has a +1 combat value. So 4-2, that wins the engagement. And that will wound him, but not kill him outright. So he is wounded going into the second engagement. George still has a +2, which is sufficient. And there you go. He is out of action. So 1 guy left. They have no idea what morale is because they're already dead. So what's it matter to them? So in new round's initiative, but at least it looks like the team's going to make it. 1 goes early, the other 2 go slow. So we'll have Lucky go early and the other 2 go second. Lucky will take her shot at this guy. I believe he's out of 6 inches, so she may want to move forward, but probably not. Yep, he's at about 8 inches, so she only hits on a 6 due to his cover. That's a 1. She finally runs out of ammo. Well, had to happen. Ivan will do the same. He'll take his shot, because why not? Hits on a 6. Doesn't get it, but doesn't run out of ammo. Oh, except she's in the slow lane, so that won't matter anyway, because it still would have changed his roll. As the skeleton slowly marches forward. And George is also out of ammo. He is going to slip back to here, so he'll have the +1 bonus of his friends, and wait. That brings us to the initiative. We will give the 1 to the only guy who has any ammo left, the Magician. The other 2 will be going second. So Ivan will take a shot. It'll be on a 4+ now because of the cover from the terrain, because he's within 6 inches. And Ivan runs out of ammo and misses. Okay. On to the skeleton, who is finally out of this terrain just about. So he can close down to here and almost get in contact with George. But not quite, because it chews up half your movement basically doing that, so he only moves 1.5 inches. And he doesn't have a dash ability. So now we'll just have George engage, because he's still within 1 inch, I think. And if not, we'll have Lucky move up to make sure of it. Yes, he is within 1 inch of Ivan, so it's all good. So George has a +2 to the attack, because at this point we can't risk it. And see, look at that. 6 to 6, it ties, so that ends the engagement. The skeleton's pushed back 1 inch. George pauses. Should we leave it there? If Lucky attacks, she'll be at a +1 because of George. And she is nothing if not bold. So she will move up into the breach because she's out of ammo anyway. So Lucky's at a +1. 5 to 5 ties it, drives it back again. And she takes a step back. Man. And we're into initiative for the next round. Everybody's going second. Bad news for Lucky. That means the skeleton can close. And let's see how she does. She is at a +1 from George's support. 6 to 6. Oh, 7 to 6 because of her George's support. So she wins and will be the aggressor going into the second round. And she beats him. 6 to eliminate. Anything but a 1 to wound. Whew. Wounds. Looked like a 1 for a second there, didn't it? That pushes him back 1 inch at the same time. She is going to follow up because she's still close enough to George for it to matter and get the boost, so she will. And, yep, she wins again. Anything but a 1. And this fight is concluded with Lucky cracking him over the head. Okay, on to the experience portion. All participants get 1 experience point. +1 for all heroes left on the field at the end, because they held the field / completed the objective. So that means that a few people go up again. So George picks up 2 more experience points, which puts him at 13. Ivan goes to 11. Sarge didn't make it, but Lucky once again did. So let's see if she's more insightful than she was a minute ago on the road. Nope, nothing happens. Just feeling lucky to be there, like Rock Ingersoll from Galaxy Quest, if you saw that movie. Okay, so that takes care of the experience portion. Checking for injuries. We will start with Claus, who has to make his injury roll. 1 to 20 is dead, so let's hope it's not that. 50. An even 50 is a light wound. So he will be injured for D3 rounds. That is certainly, excuse me, D3 turns, something I can handle. So he is injured for 2 rounds. So injured for 2 rounds, and he goes to 8 experience points, just because he participated in the battle. Much like Wolf goes to 7, and we'll see what happens to him. It might not matter that he went to 7, based on how everything goes. We'll see. And doing the injury roll for Sarge. 25. 25 is dead. So Sarge, alas, did not make it. We shall miss you, Sarge, although I will probably hire another hireling that looks a lot like you. So Sarge is out of the game. Let's see, Wolf's. Well, no, he does actually have. Well, Claus had the luck, but Claus didn't need it, so we'll see. Oh, 85. Wolf's going to be just fine. No impact. He was just knocked out. He's in good shape. Let's see. That's all of the injuries. So only Claus was damaged, and that's only for 2 turns. So that's pretty great. Now it's time to... Nobody advanced because they didn't get high enough. You got to get to 9, and Wolf's at 7, and Claus is at 8, and the other 2 have already made their rolls. So we're on to the loot stuff and the unusual finds. 61, which is valuable goods. Pretty much all of these have the same net result, which is a D6 worth of gold, but hey, I guess that's something. Because there's lots of tapestries out in the countryside, 47, but apparently no magic items whatsoever. A D6 plus 1 gemstones. So we find 2 gold pieces worth of gems. So we're up to 24 gold, but we don't have much we can do with it yet because we still can't manage to find any enchanted weapons or anything cool like that. But here we go, we've got one more loot check to make. So please, please, please let it be in the 90s. How about Ot 1? Ha! Valuables. So right back to the, let's see what rugs we get this time. 20. A bag of foreign coins. So that's D3 plus 1 gold pieces. So we get 4 more gold pieces. And finally, last but not least, as they settle into camp here in the middle of this field, which is used to be the roving dead and is now just basically an empty field since they've cleared it out. So 20 is scratched off the map. Go stop off in Glasswater to encourage everybody. Plus there's a stranger there. Then they need to run up to Wheat Ridge to grab a letter and then take it back to Glasswater to get even more story points. And I believe that's all of the things. Pick up 2 adventure points by showing up in Glasswater. Head up to here, pick up a letter, and then take it back to Glasswater for a story point and an adventure point, and meet a stranger while we're in Glasswater. And after that, we'll continue our clearing out this circle of civility and probably take out this camp and find out what 21 is, or we might do 21 next and work our way back up. But we got to let Wolf heal up a little bit. But let's see what happens. News of the day. News of the day is 87. And 87, a stranger is visiting. Select a settlement. If you visit there within the next 2 turns, have a traveler encounter. All right, well, we'll do our usual random settlement roll. It is 2, and 2 is Fort Crane. All right, so a stranger has shown up in Fort Crane. So there you have it. It turns out that that was a much harder battle than I was expecting. Sarge is dead. Long live Sarge. I'm sure we'll pick up a new follower. All the heroes survived. Lucky certainly deserves to be upgraded to hero, and the first chance we get, we're going to do that. Have step in a follower inspiration roll. Well, it doesn't have to. You can always use adventure points to make an adventure roll for it too, but the follower inspiration roll seems more thematic, and I want to stick with that. So we got a lot more ahead with upcoming episodes. I'm also going to start threading in some other games. Just besides 5 leagues, we're still going to keep up with the campaign. But going to start mixing in some other stuff and maybe even some 2 players. I'm Ray, this is TinyTableGames. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really great day.